Okay, what's up guys? Paul here with a quick reaction video for you. It's late here in Thailand. I was about to hit the nest just when I saw a video of Mike Tyson come up on my Twitter and YouTube feeds, in which it says he punched a man in the face on a plane. Alright, snakes on a plane. So I said I've got to check this out, and yeah, this can be this week's reaction video. I have a feeling it's going to be muy interesante. I've seen the comments and I'm seeing a lot of support for Mike, and before I've even watched it I'm like, what's up? What gives here? Am I reading this correctly? Because it's Mike Tyson, one of the greatest boxers of all time. He's punching a man on a flight. I'm not sure that's the legitimate response here, so let's check it out. Let's see what went down on this flight, alright, from, I think it was from San Francisco. Let's check it out.
This is doing something to Mike Tyson, bro. This shit crazy, bro. Mike Tyson.
Alright, so
Got lit, man.
I see this young dude, probably a couple of drinks deep. You know, these American lads, they do like their they take all sorts of substances when they're flying. I know that from George Janko on Impulsive podcast, and just in general, like, American dudes be getting lit when they're flying. So I'd say this guy has had a good few stiff drinks at the very least, if he's talking to Mike Tyson like that and acting all hyperactive, yeah?
Be around with Tyson. Mike Tyson trying to give us some shrooms.
Mike not forthcoming, not returning the reciprocating the conversation.
They never gave you his money.
Alright, what I heard him say there, this lad, he said they're peasants. Sounded kind of funny actually. It's always funny when someone says peasants. He looks lit. He looks like a dude in his mid-20s who's fairly well intoxicated and excited to see Mike Tyson and just acting a little bit over the top, yeah? It doesn't seem to be doing anything outlandishly offensive or obstreperous, or it doesn't look like the plane was ever going to need an emergency landing, put it like that, yeah?
Hey.
Wow.
Hey, Mike, come on. Let's go stop that.
Jet blue, net flight. Boy just got beat up by Mike Tyson.
Shirt's ripped. Alright, so the guy is like, he's leaning into it. This guy is like, he's got a couple of, he's bloodied on the side of the head. He seems to be leaning into it. He's not like crying or doesn't look like he's too aggrieved by what's happened. But that's probably because he's in shock, full of adrenaline, and he's, like I said, he's definitely 3 sheets to the wind. He's had a good few drinks before he got on this flight, and a couple more on the flight for sure. When they land, that's when Cousin Payne is going to hit home, and he's going to have a throbbing head in the morning, I would say, from a combination of the alcohol and the force of those punches from Mike Tyson. Because can we see that again?
Yeah, you got up.
Mike rained those punches down. We saw it again in slow motion. He clipped him at least 4 times.
Such a relevant experience.
If not, can we roll that back? Hey Jamie, roll that back. Let's see the punches come in again.
Hey.
Oh God, it was at least 6, if not 7. So, I mean, am I seeing things? Am I hallucinating here, seeing support for Mike Tyson for that? Yes, the kid was being a bit hyperactive and being a bit annoying and invading Mike's space, but really? We're going to defend Mike Tyson for assaulting this lad? Was that a proportionate reaction to being annoyed on a flight? You just ring the bell above and have the flight staff come and speak to the guy, have him move seat yourself, or just ask him and speak to him very sternly. You're Mike Tyson. Tell him, yo kid, shut the fuck up. You're in the Last Chance Saloon. To throw hands on a lad like that when you were the baddest man on the planet, you know, to a young, just random dude like that who's not a fighter, it's not acceptable. It's highly unacceptable behaviour. And I don't know, I cringe at the defence of Mike. I know he's like the darling of the internet, of MMA Twitter and boxing Twitter these days, because of his sweet little voice, and you know, he's Mike Tyson, and he's always high, he's always stoned, and he's got his hot boxing podcast, and it's all very avuncular and lovely. It's like, come sit with Uncle Mike and reel in the years. But to be honest, like, I'm sort of sitting there wondering, like, I don't know, what's the appeal? Why such love for this guy who, let's be honest, I don't know, I just don't see the huge, amazing charm in him. I know he's had his funny moments, and he, post fighting, he went on and he's become this bit of a character, right? He's appeared in movies like The Hangover, legendary scene there, yeah. But I don't know, I see him on his hot boxing podcast. He can barely string two words together. His brain is completely fried from the shrooms and the weed, and I wouldn't watch that podcast, to be honest. I saw Joe Rogan on it the other day, and he's having to explain to Mike as if Mike was like an 80-year-old granddad, never mind he's barely even 60, is he? About like who George Masvidal is, and he's I mean, there could be a bit of CTE there, even though he didn't sustain that much damage as a fighter, but yeah, I don't know, I don't find him so amazing the way everyone else does, and I definitely don't. I think he's getting a pass on this because he's Uncle Mike. I feel like if it was anyone else who didn't have that halo over them, Conor McGregor, for example, John Jones, for example, people who are sort of the boogeyman of the fighting world, who have bad reps and don't. Well, Mike Tyson should have a bad rep, really, shouldn't he, for all the bad things he did in the past? Yes, he had a very tough upbringing in Brownsville, New York. His mother worked in the streets, and it's very well documented. However, you know, he did some very bad things, and it's just interesting that it's all swept under the rug, and he always gets a pass, and he seems to be getting a pass here for this brutal assault on a drunk and annoying lad who you could have just, you know, we could relate this to the Will Smith, Chris Rock incident. There's dozens of other reactions you could have had there to nip that in the bud, to quell the moment, instead of like boom, 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 repeatedly punching him like that, messing him up like that. When you're Mike Tyson, nah, unacceptable. So don't come at me with, the guy was asking for it, the guy was being an annoying twat. Yeah, we've all been there, we've all had those annoying situations. Regardless of who you are, much less if you're Mike Tyson, should you be responding to a little bit of annoyance by throwing fists like that, yeah? So, yeah, really poor from Uncle Mike. In my opinion, I don't see how you can defend that. I know there's going to be loads of people defending. There could be comments. Well, all comments welcome, because my channel is a bit of a ghost town for comments. But nah, totally unacceptable. And I wouldn't be surprised if the lad, you know, looks for some compensation for that brutal assault, for being a little bit pestering and a little bit annoying on some rinky-dink little airplane. So there you go, guys. That was my take on Tyson's assault of that lad. Let me know what you think in the comments. Cheers and subscribe.